country blue, Woody and Lew got the sports for you. From Boston streets to Kentucky's fields, get ready, folks, for the thrill it yields. Woody and Lew, sports and you, talking games, we love it's true. Every play, every score, let's dive in, it's time for more. Lacing up the boots and calling plays, debates and laughs for all the days. From Fenway Park to Derby Run, sports talk magic just begun. Woody Lew, sports and you, sideline stories coming through. Every cheer, heartbeat soar, tune in now, we'll give you more. Celtics screams to Wildcats roar, touchdowns, goals, and so much more. Grab a seat, enjoy the ride, Woody Lew right by your side.
The views expressed by the hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the Department of Defense, the U.S. government, or any of its agencies. The information provided is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. No attorney-client relationship is formed by providing this information, and nothing herein should be relied upon as legal counsel. For legal advice specific to your situation, please consult a qualified attorney. Braxton, we are live.
We are live. Welcome in, episode 11.
Episode 11. We got a lot of topics to discuss today. So why don't we jump right in with, I think, the topic we've been looking forward to the most discussing is the Miss Maine 2025 USA pageant that took place over the weekend. As you know, sure. I'm a New Englander, and this is a big pageant, made even bigger by who was participating this year. You got any thoughts or comments on the Miss Maine 2025 pageant, Braxton?
Yeah, I'll start by qualifying myself. I am a husband of a pageant winner. I also, I dated at the pinnacle of her reign of Miss Coffee County. I was her illustrious boyfriend because she could not be married to be qualified for said pageant. So, I'm a part of the pageant community. I have partaken in pageants. I have been part of pageant parades. I've sat front seat of a pageant parade with my princess or my pageant queen, waving to the patrons of the county. So, not new to me, the pageant game, but when you texted me and talked about topics yesterday, you said the Miss Maine competition, and I thought that just probably some smoke show one that you may have had feelings for. You just wanted me to get up to speed on your potential new wife or who you might like to court. I did not realize that Jordan Hudson was a part of the competition. Jordan, of course,
Jordan Hudson.
And I'm glad you corrected me because if not, we might have a cease and desist if she found out I was mispronunciating her name. So Jordan, what a woman. To qualify her just for like what she currently is, she is really kind of the general manager of UNC football. She is the PR rep, administrative assistant to the athletic department to a degree. I know she is actively CC'd on all email correspondence that has to do with the football program or Bill Belichick personally. So she's a multi-Super Bowl winning coach's really like IT expert and does his day-to-day.
She is, basically like his Bill Belichick's body man and does, I guess, some other things, extracurriculars along with that.
She may
allegedly.
She may also qualify as an enforcer for Bill Belichick, kind of which is, and the most impressive thing about this, we just kind of gave you a quick kind of rundown resume of Jordan, and she is 24.
Yes.
So she's younger than both of us, and she's far more accomplished than we may potentially ever be unless we really put some
So it
effort
was in the New York Post, I want to say, like shortly after or contemporaneous with that now famous CBS morning show interview, that she has like a $24 million rental real estate property portfolio in the like Dorchester area of Boston, which is an area that's becoming quickly gentrified. Young professionals are, renting these like refurbed like duplexes, 3-family homes. And it's, $24 million holding that she is just envelope money for her. It's, maybe if Woody Lew Sports New takes off, we might see maybe 2 commas, but that's far-fetched.
And right now she's raking $1 million a year on her life, so it's pretty good. It's a lot better than I can say for myself. So, she was in Miss Maine. Far be it for me to think that Bill Belichick's significant other wouldn't be competing in a competition where I thought there was an age restriction. I also 100% knew there was a marital and childbearing restriction. Lucky for her, she fits all the bills that are required, because when you Google Miss Maine competition, it's Miss Maine and Miss Teen. So you're bracketed in there as a certain demographic of age. And then, good for Bill Belichick being 73 and dating a woman essentially 50 years younger than him.
But not a pageant champion. That's important.
Not a pageant champion. She came in third, which is not first.
She was runner-up last year, so she's. Do you think she keeps on like going for it until she finally gets to the promised land? It's
a slight dip. We regressed a little bit this year.
Yeah.
The thing about her, and I hate to be so. Okay,
be careful now, Braxton. We're live.
We need to set the stage. I want to set the stage a little bit. So with her, there's obviously been reports coming out of camp at Carolina that she's been a little overbearing, potentially, allegedly overstepping herself to some degree with her handedness on the program, with Bill Belichick being the coach and her kind of assuming a role. I think some of those reports were kind of just, they weren't corroborated with anything really. And then unfortunately, the way that the CBS Good Morning interview went and the way that they captured her on camera saying, we're not going to talk about this, several questions, that pretty much instilled like confidence in people to say, yeah, what we're hearing out of camp may potentially be true. So when you couple that together with the fact that she's just, to me, it's random. She's running for Miss Maine because I had zero idea that she was running for Miss Maine. It's just, it's actually hilarious. And the sad part, I don't want to say sad because we're live, but Bill Belichick sat right next to her father, who is 49, at the Miss Maine competition. So if you want to do quick math, her father is 24 years younger than Bill Belichick. I had my first child at age 24, 25. So you had Jordan competing for Miss Maine, her father, and then her boyfriend, who is 24 years senior to her.
Can you be called a boyfriend? Like, it's like a man friend. Like,
it's her boyfriend.
Their boyfriend, girlfriend, yeah.
When you put wet weather gear on, you go down the beach and you get a fishing rod and you act like you hooked a mermaid. If Kaylee told me to do that right now, I would not do it. So when you're doing that at 73 to your 24, 25-year-old significant other, that's a boyfriend in every sense of the word.
Yeah, yeah. We do have Miss Amy Lewis in the chat. Bill will be on Good Morning America Friday morning. Will she be there? Yes. He's much anticipated interview with Michael Strahan. I would bet not. I would bet that Jordan is not going to be present for the interview. I think Bill, all reports are doing some damage control PR-wise from that CBS Sunday morning show. And he's bringing in the pros and trying to come back, I guess, for lack of a better term, from that initial interview. And him and Strahan are buddies, so he'll get some softballs. I'm sure he'll get all the questions ahead of time. And we're not going to get anything, real juicy or controversial out of this one.
Dan, do you think her absence from the Strahan interview will be their first fight, potentially?
I wager that they probably had a number of fights, Braxton. Like when there is that. Oh, yeah.
What do you fight about when there's a 50-year age gap? Because I don't really know what myself and my grandfather would fight about, which is the same age gap. And we don't really get in a lot of disputes given the fact there's a 50-year age gap.
I bet that they fight over, him like, not like butt dialing and not being able to use his iPhone. Doesn't remember his like internet Wi-Fi passwords. Like, what do you fight about with your, I don't know, your parents, your mom, you said you don't fight with your grandfather.
Well, because the grandfather is my closest example given, or we'll do opposite sex. My grandmother, who's 50 years older than me, we don't get in a lot of arguments.
So I'll peel the curtain back. My Nana, she is 90 years old. She will tell anyone that will listen that she's a 90-year-old lady. She loved that she turned 90. I love you, Nana Marie. But I wouldn't call them fights, but it's like when she is playing her Facebook casino games and clicks on all of the pop-up ads and then gets calls from Microsoft, that is when sterner language is used. Mr. Chris Lewis, bet the fights were at least before 9 at night. Yeah, absolutely. What is Bill's bedtime?
Old jokes rock.
We're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, we got Tony from Weymouth. This is awesome. When Andy Reid breaks Don Shula's record, will he announce he is dating Chiefs owner's daughter, Gracie Hunt?
Why not?
That's fantastic.
Why not?
They'd probably take her out to Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville and get a cheeseburger in paradise. That'll be the first date.
Andy Reid rocks. And, I think Bill Belichick being with Jordan does nothing but bolster Andy Reid's dominance in the National Football League to this point.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because what better thing now for Andy Reid just to not date a 18-year-old and then die of a massive heart attack from cheeseburger overtake from so many Super Bowl wins? It'd be good for him at this point.
It's just sad. And, well, I guess, if UNC
hold on. I want to challenge you, though.
Okay.
To you, what part is sad? I'm like, if the whole situation, to you, what is sad?
That's a good clarifying question. I appreciate you calling me out on the words that I used. I guess not sad. It's just, it's that this is like, and we're talking about it right now, and we're guilty of it too, this is the headlines. Like, this is what's taking over is Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend. And he's trying to start, get into college coaching, do something different at UNC. I think it's taking away from the UNC football program, which I think is disappointing for those student athletes. And he's built the legacy as one of the greatest coaches in the NFL, and now these are the headlines.
Yeah, and the point I kind of want to get across, and I don't want this to be controversial. Maybe if the shoe fits type thing, but it's not meant to be necessarily ugly to anyone where the shoe does fit. Not only do I believe this whole episode is damaging to Belichick's career that he built as one of the most stern, iron-fisted, phenomenal football coaches in the National Football League, and then an opportunity for him to transition from the National Football League to potentially have success, however you want to measure success in the new landscape of college football. He could have a measure of success at Carolina, showing that he can do it at echelon, right? That's never going to be thought of. He could go out, go 9-3, win the Outback Bowl. No one's going to care because it's going to be about the love saga of him and his girlfriend. And I think it's where I get frustrated. If you're a man of Bill Belichick's stature and your legacy, it should be complete fair game for us to make comments on the fact that maybe you shouldn't be dating someone who's 24, 25, however old she is. I think, a radio show I listened to, like the host was really big on he can date whoever he wants. Like, I agree. You can date whoever you want, but don't act like we can't say, hey, it's a little off for you to be dating that person regardless. So like, I think
to be upset or I guess like annoyed by like the questions. And that's, I mean, all these interviews are always going to ask, like, because everyone's curious, like what does what is he, 73, I believe. 73 years old and a 24-year-old, like what do you talk about?
They have nothing in common. Dan, this is a perfect example. I'm about to be 28 in a month. You're 36, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So even you and I, what's that, a 8-year age gap? I'd say you and me are pretty similar. 8 years isn't crazy. You and I go out to downtown King Street in Charleston, and you and I felt like old geezer with, guys and girls who are like, for me, 7 years younger than me, like 13 years younger than you. We felt so out of place.
Yeah.
And that's a 7 to 15 year age gap. Now add 40 years to that on the high end.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about. It's just, I don't think it's inherently natural. I don't see issues with age gaps. When you're developed in life and you have a 48-year-old who falls for a 32-year-old, I don't think that's necessarily crazy because it's all about like stages of your life. When you are a Super Bowl winning head National Football League coach who now has transitioned to the latter half of your life or you're preparing for the final end, that mixed with someone who's still competing in Miss Maine doesn't compute, and I would argue against anyone who tries to make sense of that. Let's go to the YouTube. Or what kind of comments have we got in the chat?
Yeah. So we Tony sent another one, but let's first get to, I believe, your grandmother. You and your grandfather are too much alike, Braxton, to fight. As for me, you are perfect. That's why we don't fight. Would you like to comment on that, Braxton? That's very sweet.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. I love you.
And then from Tony Rizzo in Weymouth, on a serious note, what incentive does Bill ever have to return to NFL? Even if an owner wants him, Reed will almost certainly pass the wins record.
Yeah, I don't think he has nothing. Because here's the thing: if he goes back to the NFL,
a Super Bowl without Brady,
right? So he has that to gain. I think we all are honest brokers that may potentially be far fetched with just current landscape of the National Football League. Him making the I don't want to say step down because no one begrudges Nick Saban for being as successful as he was in college football. He didn't have the same success in the NFL, but it's still Nick Saban, right? So for Bill Belichick, for him trying to find any measure of success in college football, even if he goes out and they go 6-6, no one's really going to care about that, in my opinion. Him to go back to the NFL and then they go 5-12 or worse or something of that nature, that does nothing but damage his career. I think he go out to UNC this year, they could hang a 5-7, and honestly, it's not going to be spoken about outside of his relationship with Jordan in years to come. Personally, that's how I feel.
It's probably off limits, like talking to players, but I'm so curious to know what those 18 to 17 to like 22-year-old players have to say about the relationship.
That's their age bracket. So there, and you got to think how many guys right now.
The dapping up coach about.
Well, how many guys in college right now are like 5th year and 6th year guys because COVID they just keep getting years of eligibility. So I promise you, they have players in their roster who are 23.
Mm-hmm.
So for this, we're going to say the same age of his girlfriend, and I can't comprehend it. Because even me now, And like for being 28, when we went out, like it's gotten to the point where as a 28-year-old, I see someone who's 21 or 20 or 22, and I'm like, that's a young guy or young kid. And that's only a 7-year age gap. So like, and that's what I'm going back to, like the developmental parts of life. Like there's such big, someone's 60 and someone's 45. That's your thing. Like you're short, but that 20, a 2 and a 7 don't mesh. I'll never believe that they do.
Yeah, and okay. I think we've exhausted talking about the Miss Maine USA 2025 pageant, but let's give credit where credit is due to the winner from Bangor, Maine. I'm actually blanking on her name right now, but I know you know what her name is.
Shelby Howe.
Shelby Howe. Congratulations to Shelby Howe on her win, advancing on to the Miss USA pageant. So also history was made in the 2025 Miss Maine. There was the first ever transgendered pageant entrant. Yes, it was topic of a New York Times article, and the criticism was that Jordan's presence at the pageant took away from this historical moment.
What place did that individual come in?
I'll Google that. But if we Google that right now,
I'll riff.
Colin, that would be very helpful.
You Google, I'll riff real quick. So who's shocked? Because I'm pretty sure this is not a political. Nothing we say represents the DoD. I'm pretty sure Maine right now is in some pretty big court cases or going back and forth with the federal government over their transgenders and athletics program and funding and blah, 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 blah. So in theory, with the current tone of our federal government, that could have been a potential big story. But that just shows you how much pull Jordan has. And it's kind of impressive. She's taken away from national political narratives because she is the story, and we cannot forget that.
And that was the undertone of the New York Times article was that there was this pageant entrant that made history.
This girl transcends
and they were trying to pit Jordan, like it was like Jordan against Miss Isabel St. Cyr is her name.
Good name.
And that wasn't the case. According to Miss Cyr, like it was very amicable between her and Jordan, and they were just two young women competing in this pageant. And Miss Cyr, she placed 10th. She was top 10, pretty good.
Top 10, good for her. Mm-hmm. Far be it for me to believe that you can't hide crazy, right?
But careful, Maxton, we are live.
You can't hide crazy, but I would say that I bet Jordan in person and the real Jordan is probably a phenomenal human being who can cover it up and do what she needs to do to get on to the next objective.
Yeah. And Mr. Lewis in the chat, Bill has a daughter that is 41. Facts.
What do you say?
Bill has a daughter that is 41 years old.
I mean, I could go on another 30 minutes about how does she feel, because I know how I would feel. It's crazy.
Well, more from the state of Maine. The man from Maine, one of Braxton's all-time favorite college basketball players, Cooper Flagg, presumably found his home, at least for his first NBA contract last night, where the Dallas Mavericks, in a very unexpected turn of events, I believe with a 1.4% chance of having their ping pong ball drawn in the NBA draft lottery, got the number one pick.
Yeah. So here's the thing, like never been less concerned about Cooper Flagg. I've been pretty staunch on that since the start. I am concerned that the NBA is beginning to separate themselves from a fan base across the country that is pretty critical to their overall success. So what I'm saying there, NBA has pretty much cemented themselves as a big market-based entity. And what I'm getting at here is the way they do the lottery. They changed it in 2019 with the way they do the lottery. So now The team with the worst record is guaranteed no worse than the 5th pick. It used to be the 4th pick. Now it's the 5th pick. From there, they take their teams. It's a literal lottery system where they have the ball. So like envision the balls with like the girl in the shiny dress, and the ball comes out, and then there's your top 4. If one of the top 4, the worst record team is not there, they'll become number 5, and then 6 through 14 will be in order of record from the previous season. What I'll say is, and we're kind of where my point is. So in the NFL, what you're seeing is, Green Bay they're hosting the draft at Green Bay. Small market teams are provided equal opportunity to succeed, and are not necessarily hindered by means of chance or potential for hands in the pot that could stir things a certain direction, and at least add the opportunity for accusations to brew. With the Mavs getting the pick after they just traded away Luka and got Anthony Davis, and now you're getting the number 1 overall pick in what people are saying generational talent, Cooper Flag, a position of need. I'll add, it's just weird. It doesn't. We're all kind of critics, and we're all kind of we're a mistrusting group of folks in America, especially on Twitter and social media.
LeBron thinks that it's rigged,
and when LeBron thinks it's rigged, that's not good.
No,
I haven't seen LeBron's comments, but and I saw a guy named Aaron Torres, a friend of the show. He went through and kind of listed off in the last 15 years where teams have traded former number 1 picks who he considered not generational but top talents. Same thing happened with the Pelicans when they traded Anthony Davis. And he had some other examples, but it was almost showing where these bigger market teams ended up trading star players and were rewarded within the next 3 years with a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
But none of those teams, ironically, were small market teams who didn't necessarily move the needle on television.
And we'll get into this later, talking about the Celtics. And I should not have any complaints or gripes, but it is, I think for your average NBA fan, it has to be like just so infuriating that the Mavericks make this, trade of, who could be the face of the NBA in Luka Doncic,
yep.
And are rewarded with the number 1 pick when there is a quote unquote generational talent, like clear number 1.
And they got Anthony Davis for Luka.
Yeah,
Anthony Davis isn't Luka, but they didn't get a nobody.
Yep.
I'm trying to think, because I don't want to misspeak and be dramatic about it, but I can't really think of an example in the NFL where like this has really happened in recent memory. I just feel like their system is a little more.
It's just different. You don't in the NFL with 22 players, starters.
Yeah,
a single player can't influence the game like your max contract superstar.
And the only thing, like, the way NFL gets back at kind of small market teams is, as a Titans fan, we had the number 1 overall pick, and on TV they talked about that for all of a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Titans are on the clock, number 1 pick. They pick Cam Ward onto Shedeur Sanders and all the other teams. So that is what it is, but it doesn't take away the opportunity. And I think now there's becoming some grumblings of the NBA kind of having a hand in the opportunities provided to certain markets.
I have 2 more points I want to make on the Mavericks winning the draft lottery. The first is, and I haven't watched many like draft lotteries, but I found it very weird that Cooper Flag was there. He was there with his parents and brothers, including his twin, and he was interviewed by the panel, which included like the college game day crew, like Jay Billis. Had a very weird interaction, in my opinion, with Jay Billis. He was like, "Yeah, man," like it was just weird. It was, I think he's just a weird dude, Cooper Flagg. Like, obviously, he's an just turned 18-year-old kid, so have to give him, some, I guess, leeway, for lack of a better term, of his like engagement with the media. But it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be the number one pick. I just found it very weird that he was like there for the draft lottery.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a historical thing or they've done that, to be honest. But initial inclination is that is odd. You don't really see that in the NBA. From the transition from college and Europe and foreign players to the NBA draft, it's pretty. You're pretty set, and you know who the top guys are. Just from a developmental standpoint, typically the top guys shine in basketball. Not necessarily the same thing in football. In football, you have all kinds of guys who are later round pickups who end up being all-stars and Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
In the NBA, typically, you know who the top guys are. But that's weird because, at the end of the day, he could hurt himself training tomorrow and tear an ACL, and he probably would.
We hope doesn't happen, obviously.
No,
you never know.
Yeah, nothing's given, so I don't know why you would go ahead and give someone their flowers of congratulations. Because really what that's showing is like, hey, you just found out what team you're going to. Like, get on Zillow and start checking out the market. And
which brings me to my next point. Does he actually play for the Mavericks?
Well, I got a bad track record on this show talking about trading down. I'm
not talking about trading down. You know who wants out of Milwaukee?
Giannis. So I don't think he'd go to Dallas.
We'll go to Dallas with Kyrie and Anthony Davis and blanking on his name from the Warriors. Clay Thompson.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And I don't know if you saw something more recent. I saw something like 2 days ago. Giannis just said this is the first time in his career that he was open to the idea of potentially seeing who would court him in free agency.
I just, Cooper Flagg for Giannis, if I'm the Mavericks, I would do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's available.
Yeah, so this isn't a Cooper Flagg podcast. We're on the NBA. Let's talk Knicks and Celtics. So
yeah,
you have a little more. I want to qualify myself. Huge Celtics fan growing up. All the teams of Rondo, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Glenn McBaby Davis, Kendrick Perkins, Scalabrine, Nate Robinson.
Oh wow, you're just going through the late 2000s team. I love that.
All those teams, I was all in.
Ubuntu.
I had a Rondo jersey. I feel like all of our vacations kind of lined up with the playoffs, and I was all in on Celtics. Whenever that core group of guys just dissipated, I actually kind of stopped following the NBA closely. So really, you could say that I am the only fan I've ever been of an NBA team are the Celtics.
I love that. I didn't know that. This is the first time you're divulging this to me.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, I was all in. You can put Amy and Chris in the comments. They'll vouch. So saying that KGT, I don't know if I mentioned KG. So the Knicks and Celtics are playing Eastern Conference. It's an awesome big markets, of course. Y'all
Historical rivals.
Did y'all go down 2-0 or 3-0?
2-0. They lost 2 at home.
2 at home. You won the first game in New York, went 2-1. Last night, the first time the home team won in the series, the Knicks won, bringing the series to 3-1. Are we going back to Boston, or is it one more in Madison Square Garden?
It should be 2-2, 1-1-1, I believe.
Okay, so we're going.
The NBA does series.
We're going back to the Garden, TD Garden.
Correct.
I'll say this: the injury doesn't look great.
It's an Achilles rupture. He's done.
Doesn't look great. Before the injury, You guys were cruising through the first half and then the first part of the third quarter.
I mean, that's the tail of the tape from games 1, game 2. They've had a 20-point plus lead in every single game.
By the time I got down, like actually paid attention, I started up for top of the third quarter. And just the progression of you guys letting them back in. And then Karl Anthony Towns, no answer. And then the injury, obviously, just people are concerned that not only does it end this season, but next season is going to have implications on that. But it was upsetting to see. I'm not here to hate on the Celtics because I would consider myself for the Celtics. If I had to pick a team, I'm going to be for the Celtics just from loyalty. But
yeah, it's
tough,
honestly,
tough
it's mind-boggling. It's like, I mean, game 1 happens and it goes to overtime, and the Knicks, perform in the quote-unquote clutch time, Mr. Clutch. I actually really like Jalen Brunson. I think he's a phenomenal player. He's earned everything he's gotten in the NBA. Was phenomenal at Villanova, but the nickname Mr. It just irks me. It just gets under my skin. But I thought to myself, surely the Celtics are not going to miss 45 3-pointers again in this series. And when they miss 45 3-pointers and it goes to overtime, no problem. Like, Celtics are going to win, drop game 1, but maybe this goes to 6 games at most. And then they come back game 2. They go up 20 again, and Knicks are just able to stay in there. And then in the third, fourth quarter, chip away, go up 1 when it matters.
Yeah, it's just in the third quarter, best way to put it, they just continuously chipped. It was a game of runs through about the last 8 or so minutes, really the last 7 minutes of the third quarter. I'll tell you this though, through watching last night, and this is kind of where I got nervous. Derek White, big Derek White guy.
He's been their most consistent and best player in this series.
He was an absolute flamethrower, and then things just kind of went downhill. What's going on in the chat there, Dan?
Yeah, so Tony's
I love
Tony.
In
the Weymouth.
Tony from Weymouth. I love Tony from Weymouth.
And he's saying that this team looks like the same team that lost to the Heat in 7. I disagree with that slightly. I can get into that. And then this was supposed to be a multi-championship dynasty. If the Celtics get bounced by the Knicks, is this season ending without a championship bad luck, or is it last year's championship more of a fluke? And they never played a fully healthy team in the playoffs last year.
Before you answer that, Tony from Weymouth, does Tony live in New England?
Yes, Tony lives in Boston proper.
Tony, the closing segment of this show is us talking about my trip to Boston, so I need you to stand by for that and provide some critical input.
So that Tony did not know of the show topics. It was meant to be for everyone that tunes in. You see the bottom line ticker, but I did tell him, I gave him a little heads up that he would probably be very active in the chat during multiple segments of this show. But let's we're losing track of time here, which is good, but also got to get through the topics. Oh no, Alexa's going up. Quiet, Alexa. As far as the Celtics go, I don't think that this is the same team that lost to the Heat in 7. It's that team with Marcus Smart. The addition of Derek White and Drew Holiday, just the improvement from Marcus Smart is, in my opinion, substantial and almost exponential. Last year was not a fluke. They got through the playoffs without one of their top, game difference makers in Kristaps Porzingis. He came back for the finals, performed, well in the sparing minutes that he did, but last year was not a fluke. I think that team was hungry, and they dominated in the playoffs last year. And as far as a multi-championship dynasty, yeah, it'd be nice if they could have gone back to back. The window, is only be open for so long, and they do have the highest payroll in NBA history, which, the team was just sold for a record price, but you can only pay those salaries for so long, and as your supporting talent gets better and better, a la Peyton Pritchard, 6th man of the year, you lose that depth, and you need a full, complete team to win championships.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that, Braxton?
No, that's good. When you talk about the highest payroll, I just started twitching thinking about the Dodgers and Yankees. Baseball's getting ruined. Anyway, we can go on to the next thing.
You want to hop right into the Lewis baby moon trip to Boston? Because I do want to devote some time to this.
Before we get to that, I want to talk PGA, and then we can go full in on New England. So PGA Championship tees off this Thursday. Quail Hollow.
Yep, North Carolina.
Charlotte. I'm excited for it. There's a lot of storylines going in it with, Jordan Spieth. You got career Grand Slams on the line. Rory playing good golf. Scotty bouncing back. Justin Thomas playing phenomenal golf.
Yep.
Brooks
won in 2017, the last time it was played at Quail Hollow.
Brooks Koepka obviously going to miss the cut. That's a lock of the week. So really fired up for it. I love the fact that a guy at work today came to me and said, hey, just so you know, I won't be here Thursday because I'm going to Quail Hollow. So that's good. Weather's a factor. Let's just start off early in the week. Initial thoughts. Do we think Hideki out there putting putts up in a monsoon is going to help him on the greens this week?
Can't hurt. Can't hurt.
Did you see that?
Oh, I haven't.
So Hideki Matsuyama, he's out there.
Was this at the Truist at the Philadelphia Cricket Club?
No, this is at Quail Hollow on Monday.
Okay.
He has his caddy holding an umbrella over him. There are puddles on the putting green, and he's putting on the putting green in an absolute monster.
Out of the scene of Caddyshack when
it was
he plays with the priest. It's the greatest round I've ever played.
The most obnoxious thing, but all I want to hit on. I don't want to belabor this point. It's the second major of the year. Golf's a beautiful sport. If you're watching right now or listening on Spotify and you don't really tune into golf, I know it's kind of difficult. Tune in to ESPN and ESPN Plus Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. ESPN Plus. You'll have ESPN coverage Thursday, Friday. CBS picks it up Saturday, Sunday from 3 to close. And phenomenal venue at Quail Hollow. Rory McIlroy's had a lot of success, a lot of storylines. I just want to give you kind of a bet.
Yeah.
If you want to play some money.
Braxton bet.
Braxton bets. I'm not telling you what to do with your money, just some things to look out for. Feeling really good, Dan, about a Tommy Fleetwood.
Okay.
Top 5. I'm flirting with for the win. I wouldn't be surprised if Tommy Fleetwood's first win on the PGA Tour comes here at Quail Hollow. Also, give me Colin Morikawa top 5, Jordan Spieth top 10, and Brooks Koepka miscut parlay. $50 will pay you out about $2,200 on that.
I really like that parlay a lot. So let's just quick recap. So you have Fleetwood top 5, Morikawa top 5.
Yep. Spieth top 10.
Spieth top 10, Brooks to miss the cut.
Correct.
And what do you think the cut line's going to be at?
With it being wet, I think the course is going to play a little harder, a little higher scores. Ooh, I wish I don't know if any sports books offer you to gamble what the cut line will be. Give me. There's also a par 4 that's playing 530. Give me 3 under or 2 under. I want 2 under.
2 under. All right, that's competitive. And who you're picking for your champion?
So I'm in a every time there's a major, 4 majors in the players, I'm in a big pool that you buy into, and you got to pick from different categories. I haven't made my selections, and then there's money involved in that, so I take it really seriously. I've not submitted. I won't submit till Wednesday night, just barring any last second tweaks of the hamstrings. Vibes tell me Tommy gets his first win, but I think I'm gonna go with give me Bryson. Bryson's been little cocky lately. He wants another Rory, him and Rory at the end. I think Bryson was so upset on the range last year, watching Xander Schauffele win it all when he was trying to force a playoff, that he might come out with a little juice. I like Bryson, but sneaky pick Tommy Fleetwood. He's playing some really good golf lately, and he's due. Of anyone on the tour, he is due.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. We're still same vibes from the House of Mouse episode, picking our all-time Disney movies. I was thinking Bryson as well for my pick. Hard to, Scotty, he's the odds-on favorite to win. Probably best golfer in the world. He is the best golfer in the world. But also, I'm curious, like Rory, he said himself, like getting the grill off his back, and he's won the Wells Fargo 4 times at Quail Hollow. So he knows this course very, very well.
At the truest, he played terrible golf and still had a top 7.
Yeah.
No one's talking about that.
It's hard to pick against Rory right now, but I'm with you. I'm gonna go Bryson. And not to get too back into the movies, we actually made a cardinal sin in not even mentioning the movie Cool Runnings during last episode under the miscellaneous.
Fill me in.
Oh, no. Have you never seen Cool Runnings about the Jamaican bobsled team?
I have.
Okay. Oh, my goodness.
I'll tell you where I watched it. Didn't know the name. I watched it. I can tell you exactly where I watched it, Dan, if you give me 1 second. I watched that in 7th grade at Mahaffey Middle School on a 2-hour delay snow day. The TV with the roller with the thing got rolled out. We watched it in my math class. And we started on a 2-hour delay snow day on a Thursday. We finished it on that Friday. I have seen that movie. I apologize.
Okay.
Did not know the title.
I was listening back and Tony and Wayne, we got some good action in the chat tonight. I love this. Even my wife, who was listening, was shocked regarding not seeing Cool Runnings.
I have seen it. That's on me. Hand up accountability.
So yeah, I was listening back through our picks and I was like, oh my goodness, like we missed like probably the most highly regarded Disney sports movie. But as far as PGA goes in the chat, we got Gavin saying to throw the mortgage on JT. And I see -6 and Kaylee says -5. I think that's their picks for the cut line.
I really appreciate Gavin bringing up I'm assuming Justin Thomas. Not JT Poston. Justin Thomas is playing awesome.
Yep.
He wins the RBC. He ends up getting a tied second. Last week, the Truist, really more of a third place. Shane Lowry kind of just imploded on 18 there. Justin Thomas is playing really good golf. I love seeing JT play good golf. He's also the creator, owner, and distributor of the JT Wrap at Innisfree Bar in Tuscaloosa. If you're ever there,
thoroughly reviewed on this podcast, the JT Wrap. Justin is on a roll, and he won here in 2017. So I think
I would lock in a JT top 5, top 10.
Why don't you just go top 3?
Nah.
All right.
It's hard to play good that consecutively.
So I think let's keep moving along. We time has flown. So we're just probably our longest podcast, but yeah, let's go right into it. So Braxton, you presented this to me over the weekend.
Yeah. So I want everyone in the chat, please give your input, especially Tony from Weymouth. I love Tony from Weymouth, by the way. And also, I don't know if Anthony Rizzo is he in the chat. I like Anthony Rizzo a lot too. Wish he would play some ball with us.
So, yeah, I'm one and the
so,
same. Tony from Weymouth is Anthony Rizzo.
Dude, he's so nice. You get him twice. I love it. So I'll tell you this. Kaylee wanted me to preface this.
Sure.
So if you listen to the show, you know that I am a Atlanta Braves fan. Kaylee also is an Atlanta Braves fan. She wanted to be very clear that I told everyone that this is quoting, low key, before I was a Braves fan, I was a high key Boston Red Sox fan. So I'm not some bandwagon.
And a Rangers fan. I do remember that. Michael Young.
That was me. This is Kaylee. She wants people to know that she was a Red Sox fan before becoming a Braves fan. Kenny
Chesney, right?
That may have been some influence the origins of it, yes. And saying all that, July 5th, my roommate in college, he had a kind of a hip pocket wedding. They're doing a celebration of his wedding up in New Jersey on July 5th. Me and Kaylee wouldn't miss it. We were kind of talking about how we were going to go up there, what the plan was. She wants a baby moon before our third and potentially last child is born. So we were talking about flights, staying, 4th of July weekend, blah, 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 blah. We had a wild thought that I think we're kind of running with now is we're going to do a road trip from Savannah to Boston, work our way back down from Boston back to Savannah. And kind of the central point of that is the Sox last game at home, Kaylee, correct me if I'm wrong, is on the 2nd of July. They played, I think they're back at home maybe on the 7th. This is not me. I'm not looking at a schedule. Back at home on the 7th-ish. So really our window is go early, watch on the 2nd, go late, watch on the 7th. But really, Dan, kind of just like input I wanted from you. We're taking it's I-95 out of the way.
Yeah, it's I-95 the entire way. It's about, with stops, 18-ish hours.
And that covers major cities from, D.C., Philadelphia, New York. I'm missing a lot in between there. Those are kind of some big ones.
Yeah. You can kind of bypass Philly, but yeah, you're going to hit Richmond, D.C., Baltimore.
Baltimore, yeah.
You're going to go through New York for sure. Yeah.
So just a background. Like I've done New York a lot. I've gone to New York City a lot of times. Boston's always eluded me. I've always wanted to go to Boston because I have an affinity for the Red Sox. I've talked about on the show. I respect the Red Sox. I kind of liked them before I went all in on Josh Hamilton, who his relapse also ruined a lot of stuff for me, which ended up making me Josh Hamilton's relapse and then traded the Angels, opened up the door for my dad to finally get me tomahawk chopping and becoming a Braves fan. But anyway, really just looking for recommendations in Boston, where to stay. We're doing the game. So either it's on the 2nd or the 7th, we're going to do the game, but where to stay, can't miss. We're only there for a couple of days or a short period of time. What do we have to do?
Yeah, so I think that's awesome. So I pulled the schedule, July 2nd night game against the Reds. So a pretty good team. That'll be a fun time. I think that's awesome. You're going to Fenway Park. Got to do that, especially as a baseball fan.
Last time Kaylee watched Elio De La Cruz was when I took her to a Chattanooga Lookouts game on our anniversary.
And then Kaylee in the chat really would like to do Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, Montauk. I'm going to throw in one that I think you both would love and is sort of, you can make it on the way, either up or back down, depending on what time of the trip it is. But Newport, Rhode Island. Newport, Rhode Island is absolutely gorgeous. And, the breakers, like the famous mansions, there's a ton to do in Newport. It's right on the water. Taylor Swift, she has her mansion in Newport. So it's a destination, and it is like quintessential, like old New England. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I recommend that. And then as far as like Boston proper, you got to hit at the North End. I know you're a big pizza guy, and there's plenty of good places to get pizza. You're gonna like Regina's is like the famous one, but I'm gonna give you a recommendation called Galleria Umberto, and this is a kind of hole in the wall place on Hanover Street in the North End, and they do a Sicilian slice. So it's like those square slices.
Yep.
Super cheap. And what they do is they open at like 11 every single day, and they'll just sell food until they run out. And they run out at about 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Okay.
Every single day.
It's like a donut shop, but pizza.
Exactly.
Love it.
And it's like it's fresh. It's absolutely delicious. And they have amazing arancini, which are rice balls, panzerotti. I absolutely love. And you can feed a family there for like $15. Like it is old school. And hopefully they should be open in July. I think it's like after July 4th, like end of July, August, is when everyone that works in Umberto, the family that owns it, they go back to Italy for like a month. And they close the rest.
A little retraining potentially.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, Tony from Weymouth.
Yeah.
So he is recommending Block Island. Yep, that's also Rhode Island. That's underrated as well. And I agree with Tony. It rivals both Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. Yeah, Block Island. It's a very easy ferry ride. And he's saying I am wrong. Ernesto's is better than Umberto.
I'll eat all these places.
Umberto accused him of stealing $10 bills 7 years ago, and he's been blacklisted ever since. Ernesto's is the superior pizza. Well, that doesn't shock me. Tony in Weymouth has a permanent stay away order in Chatham County, Georgia. We can talk about that on a later episode. So I'm not surprised that he was accused of stealing a $10 bill.
I need Tony from Weymouth to do a show with us and have a guest spot.
Oh, I think we should definitely do that. And when you get closer to the trip, he can be our first guest.
Yeah, he needs to be the first guest, like a 2 weeks out from the trip. But just so I get the story straight, because I can't see the chat from my point of view. He's alleging that Umberto is alleging he stole a $10 bill from his pizzeria.
Yes,
I love that.
He's also saying Union Oyster House is a strong recommendation as well. I'm a Union. That's chalk, Tony. Union Oyster House is totally chalk. That's like it's billed as like the oldest restaurant in the United States, and it's solid. But I think like, and this is going to sound cliche too, and I might get like completely eviscerated for this take because it is a chain, but I think best bang for your buck seafood, like clam chowder, lobster roll is going to be legal seafood. And that's
legal.
And that is Long Wharf near the aquarium. I recommend the aquarium. The aquarium is awesome. And that's all within and Boston too. You're gonna find this out. It's a completely walking city.
Okay, so yeah, like we don't have to get into it on here, but hotel recommendations, just like what part of the city, like what hotel we should be staying at for like best proximity to the most. Like we'll Uber places, but like what's gonna get us to where like we could go out and just start walking for like a couple of hours?
If you can get a place like in Copley Square, I think that would be your best bet because you can walk around like pretty much anywhere from Copley Square, and probably be the best. Like you'll find reasonable hotels. There's a lot of hotels there. If you can get a place like close to Beacon Hill, like you would love that.
Okay. Last thing I got on it. Where can I get like the most authentic Sam Adams pour? You always talk about this like
You should go to the Sam Adams Brewery in Jamaica Plain. And that's a quick cab ride or Uber. And that's going to be your best Sam Adams because they'll take you. And Tony can help me out here. I forget the name of I don't know if it's Doyle's, but basically, like next to the brewery is the first bar that served Sam Adams on draft. Okay. And that's going to be your best pour.
I'm going there. And we were talking. So I've bought Kaylee, I think, 2 Red Sox hats to this point, and I think both are lost now. We're considering we're this fired up. Like I've never been this fired up about a trip. Like I think we're gonna order new hats. It's gonna be like a pilgrimage. Like the way up there is like this is like our Mecca trip. Like we are that fired up about it. And when I'm talking hat selection, for me, give me your thought. I want 47 era, not baseball, like not on field hat, bend in the bill, but fitted. What are your thoughts on that? I feel like that's a Boston thing. I see that.
It's very Boston. Yeah, like the fitted, like
fitted,
I would say like almost
not
like
flat bill. It's still bended, but it's fitted.
Yeah. Okay. It's gonna be hot. That. It's gonna be hot.
I'm doing that, and I think I'm gonna buy a green one like you have too. But I think I'm gonna buy that in the city. I want to say this is from Boston.
Absolutely. And I'll send you, and we'll post it to our socials, like Woody's like Boston like rundown, and I'll give you like my spots. Apparently, I've been gone too long. Tony's reminding me that Doyle's is gone now, sadly. So that's disappointing.
I can promise you, no bias. Ernesto's and Umberto and Ernesto. There's gonna be a pizza rating.
Ernesto's is fire. I used to live very close to Ernesto's, and I had a lot of Ernesto's pizza.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
You guys have a blast. Hopefully, you have good weather. You should. I'll give you a bunch of recommendations. I can't wait to get back. I'm not sure the next time I'll be home, but I'm so excited.
Before we close, like I think we need to discuss it. Is this going to be the last episode with you in Savannah?
This will be, yes, from the current behind me, the current studio setup. It should be improved when I move to Nashville. But yeah, this is my farewell to Georgia. So yeah, last time Woody Lew Sports and You coming at you live from Pooler, Georgia.
When do we think your studio will be set up in Nashville?
Oh, man, depends on when the movers bring my desk and all my stuff.
Well, I hope everyone sticks with us throughout the slight hiatus. Me and Dan will be doing our final because we're not dying. We'll see each other eventually, but
round one.
Our final Georgia golf match will be conducted on Sunday. So don't forget to tune in next time we go live so you can find out the results of the final Fort Stewart, Georgia.
Fort Stewart, Georgia rubber match.
It's a rubber match, Yeah. Dan's going on the road the next day, so it's a lot at stake. He has to remember everything that happens on that drive up to Nashville.
All right, everyone. We're just over the hour mark. Thank you all for tuning in and for the great contributions in the chat. Like we said, we do this for you, Woody Lew Sports and You. So thank you. Anything? Final thoughts, Braxton?